Hey guys, welcome back and good morning. So, in this video, I'm going to talk about something very serious issue that's impacting the African American community. And I find it interesting because just recently, I was accused, it was assumed by my professor that I'm not emotionally invested in his class. Now, granted, I am the only African American student in his class. He's white. And he makes this statement in front of the class to say that he doesn't think that I'm emotionally invested. And part of our evaluation process is, that's one of the components of the evaluation, is that we are emotionally invested. And so I'm like, I think that's quite interesting because I've actually cried in that class. Hi, Stanley. I'm like, that's quite interesting because I actually cried in that class, but yet I'm being accused of being not emotionally invested. And I cried in response to a story that a student shared. I'm doing okay, Stanley. This is a very serious topic, so I'm going to try to stay focused and get through it because I have some other things I have to do. I'm actually at my school. So, how are you doing, by the way? How's everyone doing who's tuning in? So, like I said, I actually shed tears, which is not something that I do often, but I do it. I cry when something impacts me, in a certain way. And I shed those tears in response to a story that was shared in my class. And he saw my tears because I saw that he looked at me kind of at the corner of his eye, but he didn't acknowledge my tears. Interesting enough. And then he makes this statement that I'm not emotionally invested. And not only did he say that, but he made a comparison to say that he doesn't think that I'm emotionally invested or as emotionally invested in his class as I am in my vlog, my YouTube channel. And I'm like, okay, that's interesting because my YouTube channel is primarily devoted to politics. And when I was asked the question in my class, what is my YouTube channel about? What do I vlog about? The first thing I said was politics. That's like the main focus. I mean, it's not no secret because you guys can look at the banner on my YouTube channel and it's clear as day that that's one of my passions. That's one of my focus that I talk about in my vlogs. Politics. Politics as it relates to the African American community. So I found that quite interesting that he would say something like that. And then I had to think to myself. I thought about it and I did some reflection. And I realized, I'm like, I'm actually really invested in this class, and not just this class, but all of my classes and into the program. So much so that I did not know about this recent killing that happened on October 24th. Almost a week ago, 7 days ago. I think it's like 6 days because today is October 30th. And I didn't even know that 2 African Americans were shot and killed by this white supremacist at a KROGER supermarket. I didn't even know that. And usually I try to stay on top of these kinds of things that affect the African American community, but I didn't even know that. So it's pretty apparent that I'm really invested not only in his class, but I'm invested in all of my classes and my work that I have in seeing clients in my practice site. So that doesn't make sense, what he said. It doesn't fit. And so I'm wondering, based on his statement and based on my own observation of myself, I'm wondering, is it that he wants maybe me to be less emotionally invested in the African American community and politics that I talk about on my vlog, and more invested in his class. I'm like, how much more invested can I be in your class? Because number one, I come every day, and that's not just it. Because I think he tried to make it seem like, okay, well, it takes more than just showing up. You got to do more than just show up. I'm like, okay, I don't just show up. I participate. People know that I participate. Now, the way I show up may not necessarily be to your satisfaction. You may expect me to show up in a different way based on your own assumptions about how African Americans are with respect to white people, but I show up psychologically, emotionally, physically. I'm there in his class. So I find that quite ironic. And given I just learned today about these shootings, ironically, from a person at my school. And I'm like, wow, I didn't even know. So on October 24th, this white supremacist named Gregory Bush, age 51, took it upon himself to go into this Kroger supermarket in Kentucky. And he killed two innocent African American people. One was a male. His name is Maurice E. Stallard, age 69. And the other one is an African American female, Vicki Jones, age 67. And according to the news report, he initially went to a church, an African American church, First Baptist, but the doors were locked. He pulled on the doors, and I guess his goal was to go in there and to open fire and kill them, but it was a secure building. It was locked, and I'm assuming no one was in there. Possibly, but usually if people are in the church, the doors are usually unlocked. They're open. You know, they have like this open door kind of policy that anybody can kind of walk in. As you guys can see what happened a while back with the church in the South, where that guy walked in there and killed all those black people. That's how church usually is. You can just walk in when people are there. But if no one's there, then of course the doors will be locked. So to, I guess, his surprise or his disappointment, the doors were locked, and he left there and then went, I guess, to the closest place he can think of where black people would be, which was, I guess, Kroger. And he shot these two innocent people. So yet again, we have another incident of a hate crime against black people, black Americans. It's disgusting. I'm going to talk about that briefly in this video. And it's sad because I think that we have so many distractions. And a lot of African Americans, people just have not been talking about this on social media. I'm wondering, I'm like, how did I not hear about this on social media? Because I'm on social media every day. So I'm like, how did I not hear about this story? But apparently there's a lot of other stuff going on. There's this Nicki Minaj and Cardi B kind of beef going back and forth. And people are obviously more interested in that and distracted by that than they are what's happening with the African American community. Like, that's something serious that just happened, and usually, you know, it makes like mainstream news, and everybody is talking about it, tweeting about it, and then there's this reaction, and there are protests and marches. Where is the protest? Where is the marches? Like, why is this a silent issue? It seems like no one knows about. I just found out about today via a person at my school, and I'm just like, wow, what is really going on? It's a good thing I check my email at least like twice a day. Because I'm like, I wouldn't even know. I heard about it through an email at my school. Devastating. It's sad. And then I read up more on the news story about this guy, Gregory. And come to find out on his, I think it was his Facebook page on social media, they say in his About Me section, he was talking about his struggle with paranoid schizophrenia and mental health issues. I'm like, interesting. I wonder if that was there before he committed this, or if it's something that they kind of slid in there to his defense. I'm wondering. Hi, Hattie. Hello to you too. But I'm wondering, because we know how these court cases go, man. And of course, they're going to try to find anything they can to get him off. And I'm wondering, was that there before? Now I looked, and a part of the reports on the news, They say that his bond, if I'm not mistaken, hope I'm not getting it incorrect, but I believe they say his bond is like $5 million, or is it $50 million? Someone fact check that for me. I know it's in the millions, and I know there's a 5 in there. And I'm like, he has a bond? This man has a bond? They're going to let him out when he committed murder, and they know it was a hate crime? But then they talk about they read his Facebook page, the About Me section, and he's talking about how he suffers from paranoid schizophrenia. So I'm like, okay, here they go with the insanity plea. Here they go trying to justify this act of violence. I mean, it's a criminal act. But I'm pretty sure they're going to try to conceptualize it in the context of, oh, he has a mental illness. Interesting. Yeah, we have this man in Brooklyn who the police officers felt justified to shoot and kill because he was holding a shower head, which they thought was a gun, and he clearly had mental illness, but it wasn't a gun. He was just walking around the streets of Brooklyn waving it. So you see the difference there in the so-called American justice system. He has a complexion for the protection. Exactly. My favorite comedian, I think, what's his name? Paul Mooney, I think he always says that. The complexion for the protection. Exactly. And being that he has his bond, his multi-million-dollar bond, so he can get out of jail, I'm quite sure the white supremacist groups that he's associated with, because they say he's actually affiliated with the Blue Collar Lives Matter or something like that. Not Blue Collar, Blue Lives Matter movement. Blue Lives Matter, I think it represents the police force. So they have their own little movement to say that their lives matter too, which they do. You know, then they have this alt-right group, the white supremacist groups, and they say he was a white supremacist. He had, looking at his Facebook and his posts, that he had made posts, you know, saying negative things about the black community and black people, and they say that he had called his wife a nigger at one point. It's just like, he's clearly a racist. He's clearly a white supremacist. And they say he has a history of domestic violence. But I'm like, no. If that's the case, if they're going to show with this case, outcome of this case, that, okay, if you have a mental illness, if you claim that you have a mental illness, right, or you pretend like I'm schizophrenic, or I have paranoia as a reason to go and just be killing random people, and then that can get you a lesser punishment, a lesser penalty. Is that the message that they're trying to put out there to the public? Apparently so, because why would the news include those details as part of the story? Seeing that how the news media wrote this story up when I read it this morning, I'm like, you kind of already have an idea of how this is about to go. It's already there in our face how it's about to go. You know, they're not going to get justice. The family probably going to get paid, you know, and it's just going to be like, whatever. Black lives really don't matter, apparently, to the dominant structure. They don't. How can they matter when these things keep happening? And then, like, there's like a high tolerance for it, you know. It's like America accepts it as the norm. Like, okay, you know, people have mental health issues, you know, that leads them to go out and commit these violent hate crimes against black people, and that's just the norm, and oh well, just keep moving, life as usual. But he was affiliated with a hate group. He was affiliated with a white supremacist group. So this is the issue that I have, because you have this label that the FBI came up with, black extremists. They want to put these labels on individual black people who are fighting for the rights and the survival of black lives in America. They get these labels, but we're not necessarily one. I mean, consciously, I guess we are one group, but we're not necessarily organized as one. But they're trying to label us as all one group, these black extremists, to try to infiltrate, you know, our movement, what we're trying to do as a collective, as a conscious collective. It's sad. You say, at least we can say Merry Christmas again. I guess, because we're still alive, yeah, but those lives are dead. And I think we should take this matter very seriously, which it seems like a lot of black people don't. It's funny to them. It's not funny until it comes at your doorstep to someone that you love. I'm sure people who are watching this didn't know these two victims, Vicki Jones and Maurice E. Staller. You guys don't know who they are. But let's say today or tomorrow it was to come to your doorstep where a very close family member that you love very dearly gets wrongly shot and killed by a white supremacist or the police. I don't think it's going to be a laughing matter. Or if your life is taken abruptly, I don't think it's going to be a laughing matter. Like, we try to minimize the seriousness of it, and we shouldn't. We got to get serious about these issues. But on that note, I do have to go because I have work that I need to do. I have to work on my dissertation lit review. And you're still laughing. You say, what I mean when I say this is saying Merry Christmas, our POTUS put this out there. You're still not making any sense. LOL. I don't see how you can laugh in the context of talking about two innocent black lives being killed by a white supremacist. It makes absolutely no sense to me, but that's your perspective. That's your way of, I guess, coping with this issue. Maybe it doesn't really impact you. So, I guess there's room for jokes in every context, but I just feel like there's a time and place for it, and it's like it's kind of too soon for jokes. But on that note, like I said, I'm about to head out because I do have work I have to do. But I want you guys to share your thoughts, your feelings, your opinions on this issue, and why has it been kept a secret? Why don't we know about this? No, I get your point, but I don't see that it's funny, and I think that's very inappropriate. You said that something that the president said. People always keep saying what I don't care what the president says. Like, people, they hold on to every single word that comes out of his mouth. You say that you hate this man, you don't like him, but he gets put on a pedestal. Like he's God. Y'all sit up here and just hold on and latch on to every single word that comes out of it. You hear what the president said? Who cares? Because most of what he says is garbage. I don't really care, and it's not funny to me. But like I say, I really do have to go. I'll catch you guys later. Feel free to continue the conversation below. Drop your comments below. Share this video. I'll catch you guys later. Bye.